inside this big grain bin. I don't remember how many bushels this holds. I'll ask him, note it here. But it echoes a little bit. There's the roof way up there on top. You'll see these cables hanging down right here. What those are is for safety. If for some reason a man was inside and he got on top of the grain, you sink through it like quicksand almost, and you'd suffocate. That's something you can swim over to and grab a hold of and help save yourself. This is the pickup in the bottom of the floor, and this big sweep, it's got an auger and it goes around and sweeps. Now that auger pulls everything to the center, okay? And it goes down into this auger outside and up, and they can unload it. But there's a ladder over there, there's a hatch. So, and then the floor is perforated. Let me see here. See, the floor is perforated and it lets air flow. And they turn these big fans on outside, and air blows through here. And it'll dry the product, whatever you have in your corn or wheat or milo. But this is what the inside of one of these things looks like. Well, America, we're driving down the highway here, coming to check on a field. We're in Angeles, Kansas, like Los Angeles, just like Los Angeles without the loss. This is a big metropolis of a town. I'm jesting a little bit. There's about, how many houses you think?
8 or 9.
8 or 9 houses with a population of about 25. And yeah, here's the house, here's the town. And as we come into it, you'll see a couple houses here and there. But this huge church, a huge Catholic church, right? And
the old high school.
Old high school here. They got goats in the front yard. That's the old high school. They don't use that anymore. A lot of these small towns, they consolidate the little high schools into bigger high schools, and all the old, look at that beautiful church though. In this little town of 25 people, and this is the huge, what's the name of the diocese here? Man, that thing is huge. They're beautiful. Oh, they're St. Paul Agnes. So, but this is town. This is it. We've got a field right over on the other side of this barn over here. This homestead right there. That circle, the irrigation circle. That's the field we're going to check. So, coming up here to check this all out. But what a town! You need a map to get around here, don't we? There we go. All right, we're here at the farm. He got a call from the missus, so domestic stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to run out and check all these circles, the irrigation circles, the irrigation machine, so to say. We're going to check the engines and the pumps and kind of explain a little bit how they work. I mean, you see, I'm driving down the highway, you see these things out there and they're squirting water, but it's just, you don't think anything about it. There's, you know, it's kind of neat to see this stuff up close, you know, so. Nobody ever goes and walks out in the field and looks at this stuff. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get on, there's a four-wheeler, and we're going to run out into the field and check all this stuff out. So. Where are we going, Kurt?
Check an irrigation motor out in the field.
Check it out, make sure it's running.
Make sure it's running, oil pressures are good, water's flowing. Then we're going to, in about a half an hour, we're going to turn one circle off that's on the soybeans and turn the circle on this corn on. So, about 300 gallons a minute is what it's pumping. Just sets and just idles day and night. So,
what is this again?
Minneapolis Moline.
Minneapolis Moline.
Yeah, from a Minneapolis tractors, like in 1940s is when they was popular. It's an old motor from an old tractor. Run on natural gas. we just keep full of oil, and it just drips like one drip every 10 seconds. Oil goes down, don't come up there, and keep on burning. All good. And then see in the distance is another well over there, another motor. So these two, yeah, these two are hooked together.
By that telephone pole way over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So these two are hooked together underground. So between the two of them, it has enough water. Then we run a circle.
Okay.
So.
All right, now what is this right here, this weed?
It's just a pigweed.
Pigweed?
Just a regular pigweed.
It looks about half dead. You've already sprayed that?
Yeah, a couple days ago. And it's worse right here because this is where we park the semis all the time.
What's that matter?
Packs of ground compaction.
Oh, okay.
So the crop don't come up. See how thin the corn is and wilted?
Right.
Because of ground compaction. So when the crop's thin, the weeds come in.
Right.
So they're dying. They was just sprayed day before yesterday. So
okay, those will be gone, and within a week that'll be almost completely gone.
Couple weeks they'll be brown and dried up.
And in the meantime, the corn will recuperate and start growing better.
It's always stunted, but it'll grow because we're about to turn this circle on again here in another half hour.
Okay.
And so we'll start watering it, and the corn will hopefully start taking off a little better.
Okay, so the other circle's the one that's running right now.
It's running on soybeans.
Okay,
right.
we're getting to go over fixing to go over and check it and make sure it's finished.
Right. As soon as it's finished, we'll shut that circle off and turn this one on.
Very good. Okay.
So.
That's a V6 Chevy?
Yeah, V6 Chevy.
Running on natural gas.
Yep. Right here's the natural gas coming into it.
All right.
Sits there day and night like that.
What kind of RPM? Maybe about 1,000 RPM, maybe?
Really don't know. We go off by how much volume per minute.
Right.
About 200 gallons a minute.
Something I'm noticing about these engines, it's just whatever spare engine they got laying around that still runs, they put it on a pump, you know. He's got an old engine out of a semi that he took out. Eventually one day that motor might be out pumping water for 30 years. So you just never know. They never throw anything away. This is a little V6 Chevy engine, a little V6 Vortec, and it's pumped about 200 gallons per minute. Was the other one pumping about 200 also? 300? So between the 200 and the 300, they've got 500 gallons a minute pumping to that what do you call it? The circle, the pivot. And then each circle uses that much at one time, so they can't run both circles at the same time. So it's just all kinds of... You drive down the highway in western Kansas and everybody says, oh, it's just flat, nothing. Get out here in it, you'd be surprised how much there is to learn. I mean, especially if you know somebody in the business out here. He teaches me more stuff that I had no clue about, you know. How much longer before the corn has those little bitty ears on them? Another month? About another month and a half. Now, you know when you go to the salad bar and you got those little bitty mini ears?
We don't grow them kind here. That's easy corn.
But that'd be sweet corn, right? No?
They
do. So, but anyway, you know when you go to the salad bar, and you got those little bitty miniature ears of corn. Now that's a different kind of corn, but that's what they look like. That's what these little heads of corn look like. And he pulls them out, and he can tell when they start coming out whether it's going to be a good crop or not. I mean, it's amazing the knowledge that a farmer has, and he can predict how good stuff is going months out before the crop's even close to ready. So then of course then they just pray for rain. That's why they got irrigation out here, and makes a big difference on the yield at the end of the year. So flies are biting me up. I got to get to going. I'm getting wet. Hold the camera high. Those are squirting my legs right now. What's going to happen? Is it this pipe over here? This pole? What happens is this pipe right here is hooked to a switch right above the axle there. When this pipe comes over and hits this wall, this stop, it'll hit and it'll trigger that switch. It'll come in and trigger that switch, and it'll turn around and go back the other way. And what we're going to do is try to catch it right when it hits here and shut it off, so it stays over here out of the way. But that's what the sprinkler heads do. That one there's not working too good. But these other ones, they're squirting about from my waist down right now. Oh shit, that's cold. So yep. So what you're looking at? Weeds. Okay. Weeds, that's pigweed again?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
And that's pigweed, and that's a soybean. Okay. As you can see, there's pigweed in between the rows. There's even more over in this corner is quite a bit. I don't know why that was. It because the wind hits that and seeds quit blowing, or what?
No, I don't know why. Just around the outside, they drift in from the outside.
Okay.
So the whole field isn't bad. We're mainly here on the outside again. It's like we need to come up and make one round around the outside with a sprayer, and they'd probably get most of them. But we usually spray the whole field.
Okay, now is that milo or corn sticking out there?
That's volunteer corn, because this was corn last year.
Volunteer corn, explain that.
It's just corn left over from the seeds that fell on the ground, like right down here.
Okay.
See that seed?
Oh, there you go.
Last year, that gets pushed in the ground.
Yep.
And then it regrows.
There's a few right there.
Yeah, a few seeds.
And some more. That's just when you're combining and transferring from a truck from the combine to the truck, it might get spilled a little bit.
Here, there's a whole lot of husk all in one spot.
Right.
So the combine probably stopped right here.
Right.
And then when it stops, it throws a few extra seeds out because it's running empty.
Right. Okay.
And so
there's some more right out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a product of a seed that just happened to take root and it's growing voluntarily.
Right, correct.
There's some more way down there, quite a few.
Yeah, yep.
But you try not to get that, of course, because you want this to be...
Well, then we spray it with stuff that will kill that corn off.
Oh, okay, all right.
Just along with the weeds.
Okay.
So...
Okay, so when this comes by, this sprayer, the circle comes by, what's that equivalent to? An inch rain, half-inch rain?
Right now, this pivot is, well, it depends how fast you set it. Right now, we're putting about a half-inch on.
So this is equivalent of a half-inch rain overnight?
Correct. Okay. Correct.
Now, because it's daylight, half of that, some of that will evaporate because it's so hot?
Yep.
So a percentage, like 10% of it will evaporate, and the rest of it will soak in?
Yeah.
You hope
the wind's blowing today, and it's 100 degrees out, and 20-mile-an-hour winds.
Right.
So it evaporates a lot more than if it was calm, let's say.
All right. So, and this comes out of the, what aquifer?
Ogallala.
Ogallala Aquifer. That's Ogallala, Nebraska, right?
I think that's what it's named after.
There's a town in Nebraska called Ogallala, and there's an aquifer starts around that area and goes all the way down to New Braunfels, isn't it? Texas?
Yeah, it goes all the way to Texas, to Valentine, Nebraska, up into South Dakota just a little bit. Yeah,
it's huge underwater, basically underwater river, big water storage. And somehow they found that. You imagine being a pioneer in the, the 1800s in the covered wagons, and you go across Nebraska, there ain't a drop of water anywhere, but right below you there's an ocean of water, and you don't know it. So, but we know it now, so we use it.
Some of these weeds were sprayed, and they're not dying very well.
No.
See that one curled up, but these aren't.
Right.
So we'll have to come back and probably spray it with a little bit stronger chemical to get it.
So the solution was too weak?
Or they're getting resistant to that chemical, so the next time we spray it, we'll mix a little more chemical. But you got to be careful that you don't put any chemical that hurts your crop.
Now, I'm looking at some of these soybeans. Some of them are yellow leaves and some are green leaves. Is the yellow a product of the spray?
No, no, it's just the ground pH and several things. They'll grow out of that.
Okay.
It's just the ground pH, and there again, we're right where we park the semis when we load grain, when we harvest this field. So this ground is packed extra hard.
Yeah, this is where the trucks come in and park.
Yeah,
I remember that
semis
2 years ago.
The grain carts come to the semis.
Yeah.
So it's a lot worse here than if you just went, you know, 100 feet out there, a couple hundred feet.
Right.
So the new crop has a harder time penetrating through the compaction of the ground.
Yeah, okay. The looser the soil is, just like you plant a potted plant, the looser the soil, the easier the roots can work their way through.
Just like a garden in town. If your garden is nice and soft, your plants root down. If it's packed real hard, they struggle.
Very good.
Same here.
Okay.
Our circle hit the end. If you can look at it now, see it's coming back this way. The tires are coming back this way. So we need to go shut him off and open up water to the next one.
Where do you shut that off, at the pivot or at the engine?
Well, we're going to open up the next pivot first, so water flows to that, and then we'll go down and shut that motor off and shut this pivot off. Okay. So,
all right, let's go do it. That little meter right there, what is that?
$2,500 a month spin.
Okay. See how fast that meter's spinning there. You can watch it, actually watching it move. This is natural gas. They've got natural gas running down the road, so all these farmers can get natural gas to their houses, but also to things like these engines. And that's about how much natural gas they're using. It's about $2,500 a month.
$2,500 a month spin right
wow. Now that's not all year long though. That's just during the summer.
When we got the irrigation.
When you got irrigation, okay.
Going. Yep. Them hydraulic oil lines come from that motor, and here in a little bit
you got hydraulic lines underground
all the way from that motor down there.
Wow.
To here, because this is run by hydraulics. A lot of them are run by electricity.
Electric motors.
This particular company, it runs hydraulics. So here in a little bit, we'll turn the hydraulic system on.
At that first engine
at that Minneapolis motor. But right now, what I'll do is open the valve on this one. It's closed. We're going to open it up so the water starts going through this circle.
Get around this other side here.
It
says closed right here.
Yeah, hear the water coming in now.
And it says open as he turns this.
And then we'll go to the other pivot and we'll close that one. And so now water will start going to this one.
Right. So right now, water's going to both of them?
Right now, water's going to both of them. So there isn't really enough water to operate either one.
Not enough pressure right now. Okay.
But now we'll go close the other one off.
All right, now, you got cattle down here. Why you got cattle when you... Why do you got cattle down here when this is farmland? Why are you wasting this land on cattle?
It's not good enough to farm.
Too rugged?
Hilly.
Too much rugged. Of a ditch? Okay.
Too rugged, too hilly.
As you can see, everybody thinks Kansas is dead. Everybody thinks Kansas is dead flat out here. It's not. There are ravines and stuff like that. And for those big combines, it's just too much contour to bother with. So what little bit of land right here that has ravines and ditches and stuff, they just put a fence around it, and that's where they put their cattle. They save the flat ground for the machines and the rugged land for the cows. So they got dual income here.
Dry land corn is suffering in the heat of the day.
Now this is dry land corn over here?
That's dry land corn, right.
You see how was that planted at the same time as the others?
About a week or 2 weeks, week and a half behind, something like that.
That's why it's shorter, because it's just been in the ground less.
And it's also don't have the moisture, the water, so it suffers more.
Okay. You'll still get a crop out of that though, right?
If we get timely rains this summer, yeah.
Okay. It all depends on rain, on dry land.
Yeah.
Dry land, anything.
In western Kansas, rain is a good thing. Never turn down rain. This is a little 2-cylinder diesel motor. So, and it just runs non-stop too. So now what we're going to do, we're going to close this valve off. So all the water is forced to go to that other pivot now.
You can really hear it.
Yep.
That's closing it off.
Yeah, we're shutting.
Close up there, vacating.
Yeah, it's just because of the lack. See, the water's not going to come out as much.
That's another thing. These, what do they call these, nozzles?
Yep.
Okay, these nozzles don't spray near as much as the ones on the other end. You know, otherwise this would be a swamp and that'd be fairly dry. Right. So the farther you go out, the higher, the more each nozzle's opened up. So, how long is this? 500 feet, 800 feet?
The length of it?
Yeah.
This one's a 1/4 mile.
1/4 mile pivot, wow. So that goes for a 1/4 mile that way and a 1/4 mile that way. That means it covers a ½ mile circle.
Yep.
Wow.
The other one's bigger, a little bit bigger. There we go, this one's shut off. Now we got to go turn the other motor on.
Where would this diesel motor have come out of?
I do not know.
A vehicle?
Nope. No, it don't. I don't for sure know.
Okay.
It's an old Lister Peter. Here, you look on this side.
Lister Peter on the heads.
Or there you go.
Yep.
So,
Lister Peter.
And I don't know where Lister Peter.
There's a joke in there somewhere, isn't there?
But it's a great little motor, and all it does is runs this hydraulic pump right here. Here's the oil, because this one here, see the lines? They go up. That's what turns the circle into hydraulics or oil.
Go down to the tires down there, and there's a hydraulic motor. Every time. Comes up the hydraulic pump, or hoses that come right here. Okay. Come down and go into this pump right here, and that's what this is what actually drives the wheels. The other one, the other motors drive the water pump. So you got four engines on this, or 3 engines on this?
3, including this little one.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go turn the other pivot on, get oil going to it so it starts turning.
Okay. Once the water gets to the bottom, it equalizes out. Now, when that slows down and spins, he's going to put these belts on. On the other one, we had the V8 engine. On the other one, we had the V8 engine running for the water, and we had that little 2-cylinder running the hydraulics. On this one, we've got one diesel engine, runs the water, but then wants to start the other circle up. He puts these belts on, tightens them up, and it'll run the hydraulics. So 2 birds with 1 stone here. We got 2 engines on the other one. This is 1 engine, does both of them. Basically, there's a clutch inside of here.
There's the air coming out there.
Now eventually that'll be water. Water will come out of there and we'll turn that off. But in here, it's just a clutch, right? But there's no transmission. That's just a clutch, and when you kick it into gear, it starts spinning. All the air is out of the system when the water comes in there. So that water has been pumped back up. Okay? So there we are. Just trying to get the RPM set about right. He's a 475 and needs to get it down to about 300 gallons per minute. Yeah, that water's cold. Church. There's the cemetery. Here's the field. So since we turned that on, that's only moved 3 feet.
I say you can set it to different speeds, but this is the speed we got it set on. It's putting on a little over a ½ inch of rain or water.
The equivalent of a ½ inch rain?
Equivalent.
Okay. Try not to get wet here. But see how slow that's moving? Hey! Cold! Woo! You see how slow that's moving? No wonder it takes 5 days to get to the other side.
This is the funnest part on 100-degree days like today.
Yeah?
When you have a plugged nozzle.
He gets to go out there and get wet while he's trying to unplug that. Trust me, that water is cold. There we go. Working like it should.
Got it bad.
Feel good though, don't it?
Oh, it does.
Well, we just got back from checking the irrigation and everything, and I wanted to show you something. Something I notice about farmers in different parts of the country. Some are junkyards from hell, and others are just the cleanest. Everything's put away, spick and span. There's pride in ownership. It's kind of like it's a farming version of keeping up with the Joneses, I think. But look at this yard. That is golf course quality yard. I mean, it's immaculate. It's just beautiful. You know, and he mows it, crisscrosses almost like a baseball field. And the old house, they said this A-frame part of it here, this A part of it, it was the original house, and over the years they've added on, you know, 2 or 3 different additions over the years. But I imagine that's probably a 100-year-old house right there, you know. So it's just, it's kind of a pride of ownership kind of thing. I'm impressed, you know, with these people. There's no junk in the yard. It's all, you know, there's not an old dead tractor. And you know, you go into the different parts of towns and stuff, and you see an old Camaro up on blocks and stuff. You don't see that around here. People take pride in their stuff, you know. It's something we're losing in America over time, you know. When these older people start dying, and what's going to be replaced, you know, how's our, you know, our Kardashian culture, how's that gonna turn into this, you know. I don't see a lot of it. So I think a little bit of Americana is going to be lost. So it's just, and I'm talking about a yard here, you know, that's just, but you notice those things. So anyway, he's in there talking with his uncle right now, and I figured I'd take this time to come out and talk to you. But we're going to run up to Hoxie and get some parts for the tractor. I think there's a starter and hydraulic pump or something like that. I can't remember all. But very interesting around here. Very, very interesting.